So you built your business and, maybe you're at 200,000, but you started from scratch, or, maybe you've been in business for a while and you can't seem to get from $500,000 a year to 750 or a million. Or maybe you're already at the million, but you can't seem to get to two or three or four or five. No matter where you're at in your business, you've built this thing through word of mouth, through some form of marketing, whether you were intentional about it or not, but you built this business. What happens is that glass ceiling comes because there's more to learn, or there's a different implementation that needs to happen. The question is, what is it? What do you do more of? What do you do less of? Do you even know what's been working? That's a big question for most entrepreneurs is, we just kind of splash things on the wall, see what sticks, kind of like what we do with spaghetti, or at least that's what we think we do with spaghetti, to see if it's cooked enough. Marketing is one of those things that are extremely complicated, but once you understand it, it could also be very simple. And once you learn a formula for how it works, you could use it to really scale your business. So I really want to go over 6 areas that you should really focus on to scale your marketing so you can scale your business. The first one is common sense. The last 5 is actually part of a formula. The first thing you have to really master and get really good at is your brand. Now, what is branding? Branding is basically how people interpret from the outside what your business is all about. It might not be the direct messaging you have on your website or your vans or your materials, but it's exactly how people see you from the outside looking in. The trust, your colors can have a lot to do with it, the way you look. But basically, when people see your brand, they have to know exactly what you do and what type of value they're going to get with you because of what they read online, what they see online, and what your messaging is all about. That's where I feel a lot of people get it wrong. They don't pay attention to their brand. They only pay attention to the product or service that they sell. You could only get so far there, or you're only going to get a certain type of clients. So how do you build a strong brand? You build a strong brand through a unique selling proposition and a unique value proposition. These are the phrases or terminology that you use, whether it's direct or indirect, in all of your marketing materials that promises something to your clients. Now, let's say you sell a physical product. It could be as easy as saying, your satisfaction is guaranteed. If you don't like it, we'll replace it, no questions asked. That's a unique selling proposition. What about a value proposition? This might not be something as specific as that, but it's basically promises a certain value that you get. Whether it's clean technicians coming to the house that have background checks so that you don't have to feel at any point insecure about who's in your home if you're a home service business. Or it could be that you have the most unique and best product on the market and it can only be sold by you. That's a unique value proposition, and it could also second as a selling proposition. But either way, your brand has to be very strong. How they see you is going to be how they interpret what they're going to get from you. So that's step number 1. Make sure you have a strong brand that actually speaks to your sales qualified market. So step number 2 is all about getting the right type of leads. There's 2 types of leads out there. There's market qualified leads and there's sales qualified leads. Let me really quick go over the difference between the 2. So market qualified leads are people that actually are attracted to your branding and your marketing message, and they reach out, right? They reach out because they feel like, you're in need, that your services are in need for them. But as you qualify them through your process, which you should have, you determine if you actually want to serve a client like that or not. What are determining factors if you don't want to use them? Well, maybe they don't have a budget. Maybe they're asking too many of the wrong questions. Maybe they don't fill out the form and there's important information you need on the form that you ask them to fill out in order for you to vet them. So that could totally push them out of, the lead pile that you want to work with. But if you vet them and they go through your funnel and then you determine, wow, they did everything right, they have the budget, they have the personality, I actually want to do work with them, then they get moved into the category of sales qualified lead, meaning they're qualified to sell to. That's your job to convert them into a client, which is going to be step 3, and I'll talk about that later. But you want to get the right leads. Think about this. How much effort do you want to put into your business? Do you want to just get a bunch of leads and try to convert them all? Or do you want to figure out how to get the right leads and spend less time converting because they already know they want to use you and you already know you want to have them pay you? Work smarter, not harder is what they always say. So how do we get the right type of leads? Well, your branding, like in step 1, needs to be extremely good, well articulate, and the value has to be shown. They have to know that there's value coming from that. So qualifying your leads is extremely important. That is step 2. Step number 3 is all about conversion. Once you have sales qualified leads, you have to have the skill, or your team has to have the skill, to convert at a healthy conversion ratio. Because even if you have a sales qualified lead, you may not be able to do business with everybody that comes across as a sales qualified lead, because there's other great companies out there, perhaps. But you should know what a healthy conversion ratio is. And let me give you a hint. If your conversion ratio is way too high in the 80s and 90s, you're probably too cheap. But if you price right for what your value is, I think that in most cases, you should be at a 50 to 60% conversion ratio, depending on the industry. So don't take me at word for that. You might have a 30% conversion ratio and do very, very well. But on average, I see a healthy conversion ratio if your value is being displayed well and your prices reflect the value to be at about 50 to 60%. Now, how do you increase your conversion ratio? There's a few things that you could do. The first thing is you should learn how to ask the right questions that really get your prospective client to show some emotion and dig for the pain, and then be quiet. If you could do that, if you can ask all the right questions and be quiet, you'll come across as somebody who cares about them. They're probably going to want to do business with you. The second thing is after you do that, learn how to ask for the business. So many leads don't get converted into a client because as salespeople, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we fail or we're insecure to ask for the business. And the last thing that you should consider is this statistic. Over 50% of clients actually went with the first person that reached back out to them. So you got to get on your systems and make sure that you are very quick to respond to any lead inquiries. Step number 4, number of transactions. How can you increase the number of transactions with one client? This means you got to market to them over and over again. They may have bought with you last year or last quarter. How can you continue to message them or be in front of them so that they're actually inclined to buying from you again? See, marketing doesn't stop at just the first person. Marketing, it should be something that you continue with the same clients. It is cheaper to sell to somebody that you've already won over as a client than to get a new client. So you really have to pay attention to number of transactions per client. And this can also happen on the same day. If they hire you to do one thing, but you have a menu item of more things you could do, what about upselling? The next step, step number 5, is about your average dollar sale. Just like step number 4, where it's, upselling, your average dollar sale can really be influenced by upselling with integrity and making sure that you're priced efficiently. You're priced at what your value is expressing rather than just trying to compete with the market. Part of that is your prices should always increase. Increasing your prices regularly actually shows value, especially if you're able to deliver. And finally, step number 6 is paying attention to your profit margins. Now, I'm not going to go over the different profit margins. You should already know that. Look at some more of my videos if you need to. But this is really about making sure that you're not just making money, but you're keeping money in your business. And even though profit margins are about money mastery, it fits within marketing because marketing is the effort to increase and to keep what you have going on. So making sure that your budgets are tight, making sure that your profit margins are right will actually influence you to price your product or your services right. If you really want to market properly and scale your business through marketing, you need to pay attention to those 6 things: branding, leads, conversion ratio, number of transactions, average dollar sale, and profit margins. Stay strong. Hey, if you really like this content and you actually have questions, I actually read the comments. Leave a comment below and one of my team members will get right back to you. Also, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified when more videos come out. And if you're just looking for that extra push and actually need coaching and accountability, check out my online courses below in the comments. See exactly if that's a good fit for you so they can get your journey in scaling your business off to the right steps. Stay strong.